What's up? Grace Report. Happy Thursday. What is up? D Nice, Delia Lux, Tammy, Heather, whatever, Carol, Julissa, Bernadette. How's everyone doing while we wait for people to trickle in? And how has your week been? Nerd Report in the house. What is up? Julissa St. Lisa, how are you? I'm doing great. Kimberly, what is up? Joanne, how's it going? Heather, whatever. Matthew. Hope, Matthew, you're being safe. I see that the hurricane is headed your way. Hopefully, stay safe. Matthew goes, hello, can be in and out because of high winds east side of a hurricane. I saw some, I think it was, where was it? North Carolina, that there was flooding. I think that's where that person lives. One of the Carolinas. Brandon, what is up? Matthew goes, good. I'm out of the path of the outside, so just high winds and power off. Okay, that's okay. Awesome. Mr. Spock, what is up? Carol goes, it's been a good week so far. All right, while we're waiting for people to trickle in, Heather, whatever goes, I watched Cincinnati on the live and clouds are filling the sky. While we wait for people to trickle in, I do have this article. Do you guys remember when Ring kind of had a I don't know what you call it, a contest? I don't know what you call that. A contest where if you caught an alien on your Ring camera, they would give you money, and some of the hilarious hilarious and creative videos that they had. Well, they're doing it again, but this time because it's spooky season, they're doing it with ghosts, and I believe they've done it before, but this is like all over the news. Ring is offering 1,000K or 100K, 100,000 for videos of ghost, other paranormal activity this Halloween season. I can't wait. I hope they share some of the funny ones, like they did the aliens. Ring, the home surveillance company, wants user to call them if they spot any ghosts this Halloween season. I do not have a Ring. I have Blink. The company is inviting its users to submit videos showcasing paranormal activity for the chance to win 100,000 prize. Ring users can enter the contest here. Any form of paranormal activity is welcome, according to Ring, from supernatural sightings of floating orbs and unexplained shadows to family and friends wearing silly costumes, funny, frightening, fashionable, all of it. If you find a ghost, we want to see it, the contest website says. Finn Wolford, star of the Ghostbusters and Netflix Stranger Things, and paranormal investigator Katrina Wedman will serve as part of the judging team for Ring's Great Ghost Search, helping to select the winning entry, a news release said. Only the first 5,000 entries received through November 1st will be considered for the grand prize. If you guys have a Ring and want to be creative, because it looks like it's also allowing creative videos as well, which is kind of cool. Hopefully they pick a creative one. Maybe there will be a real one trickled in there somewhere, but hopefully they pick a real one, and that would be kind of cool. I cannot wait to see like a video of the funniest ones, like they did with the aliens. I hope that they do that. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I hope that they do that because those were hilarious. Brandon goes, should I try? Go for it. Heather, whatever goes, ghost ringing the doorbell, get the candy quick. So it's going to be kind of cool to see some creativeness going on with that. I'm kind of glad that they added the creative form to it because not everyone catches anything. Also, too, I want to give a shout out to Heather whatever for your PayPal earlier. And she puts good to see you hearts for Heather whatever, guys. Also, the other night I didn't catch it in time, but thank you D Nice as well for your PayPal. Hearts for D Nice and Heather whatever, guys. Thank you, ladies. Mr. Spock is asking, do your cat ears light up? No, they're not. They're just they're 3D printed. They're wolf ears, actually. Werewolf ears. Jen, what is up? Give me a second, guys. Let me find this. I hate when this happens. What? It's giving me trouble now, and it was a good article. It's one of those websites that make you pay for to see the article, but I was able to see it earlier. But now it's not working. Emily, how's it going? Bernadette goes, I'll put a sheet over me and put on a bikini stripper ghost. Emily was watching the hurricane coverage. We're going to get hit with the winds, possibly tornadoes and flooding tomorrow. Emily, stay safe as well. Bernadette's over there on my Twitch. What's up, Bernadette? If you guys have Twitch and you want to follow me there, I need 50 followers. I think I'm at 14 at the moment. I need 50 to be able to upload videos there. Just another place for me to get the word out of Grayson Report. So if you guys have Twitch, please follow me over there. Bernadette has dropped the link in the chat. Joanne goes, that's what I thought, but then like it even said sign up and you could see it for free, so I did. But now it's like you need to pay. But you know what? I think I may be able to get around this. I just need to share it. And as always, guys, while I get this darn article to work, Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. Just remind me at the end of the stream and I will reveal his location. If you do not know who or what Skeleduck is, he's pictured in my upper right hand corner, your upper left hand corner. I hide him every week and he is somewhere in this background. Just remind me by the end of the stream because I will forget. It has happened. Also have Broken Pixel, I believe, is Brandon. He's over there on my Twitch as well. Matthew goes, it will be like having a car with a big S on top and say, look at that S car go. Mr. Spock goes, the ghost effect that scared Sheldon on Big Bang Theory would be cool to reproduce. Believe it or not, guys, your local library, I don't know which library is doing this, but libraries are getting in the spirit, loaning out ghost hunting kits. The kits are so popular, they seem to disappear from the shelves. Books about haunted houses fly off library shelves this time of year for patrons who want a possibly more hair raising experience. Libraries have stepped into the realm of the supernatural. Many now lend out ghost hunting kits complete with instructions on how to use the equipment. Thank you, Emily Parkinson, for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome, Trisha, Lori, Toby, Lady, Butch, to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Emily and all the new Wolf Pack members. Thank you, Emily. The kits are so popular, they seem to disappear. Kaz Witness was at her local library in Thornton, Colorado recently when such a kit caught her eye near the checkout counter. Witness, a children's book author and illustrator, said she was intrigued even though, as far as she knew, there were not any ghosts in her home. I don't frequent the library, so I did not even know this existed. So this is actually kind of cool. We're entering spooky season, so I decided to give it a try. She said about Halloween time. Witness checked out a kit and took it home so she and her 2 teenagers could experiment with it. The carrying case contained an electromagnetic field meter, which I already have, a digital voice recorder, which you can use your phone, a spirit box, which I already have, to scan radio frequencies, and an infrared thermometer, which I don't have, and a UV blacklight flashlight, a bag of cables, and instructions on how to use the ghost hunting devices. Although the kits don't include advice on how to hunt for ghosts, library customers can find a treasure trove of tips on paranormal websites. So this is a kit that she got from her library in Colorado. That is actually kind of cool. Um, Almost hoping that people don't decide to keep them and not return them. Witness put some water to boil on her stove to test out the thermometer, which paranormal investigators use to detect temperature changes in places said to be haunted. There were no ghosts in my teapot, she said with a laugh. She then tried out the spirit box, a radio scanner that has a slight modification enabling it to rapidly scan multiple AM or FM stations at once to pick up voices in the static or white noise. Paranormal investigators say that ghosts and spirits tend to communicate through radio transmissions. I hit the scan button and asked who was here, what's your name, and I clearly heard the name Artemis. Witness said, explaining that the scanner had picked up a radio frequency where somebody said the name, so who knows? She said, maybe there's actually something to it. With paranormal investigations on the rise due in part to the popularity of ghost hunting tours and videos on YouTube, do-it-yourself ghost hunting kits are in demand at libraries across the country, from the Wilsonville Public Library in Oregon to the Portland Public Library in Maine. Television shows about the paranormal, such as Ghost Hunters on Netflix. Also, I believe they're still on Discovery, Discovery and Plus, I believe too, even though they're no longer with them. And the recent Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie have helped add to the intrigue. American Library Magazine recently reported on the popularity of ghost hunting kits, which usually contain equipment worth about $250 and can be checked out for a week at a time by patrons age 18 and older. Ohio Clark County Public Library is one of the largest libraries to get into the spirit with 3 kits in curriculum. We've heard about other libraries having lots of success with their ghost hunting kits, so we decided in 2023 to also give them a try, said Allison Peck, public relations manager for the library in Springfield. They've been checking out constantly well, and we always have holds on them, but one is currently MIA, she said. Maybe a ghost took it? No, they took it home. So this is the one at the Clark County Public Library in Ohio, and it looks like it also has an EMF detector voice recorder and a spirit box. It even comes with batteries and cables. That's amazing. At the Coventry Public Library in Coventry, Rhode Island, the staff put together a promotional video that shows a couple of librarians wandering around the book stacks in the dark while using a spirit detecting kit. Although nothing spooky turned up, one of the librarians took the kit home and used it while taking images on her phone, said library director Lauren Walker. The librarian claimed that when she looked at the photo, she saw an image of an unknown man sitting on her couch. It confirmed her hunch that her house was haunted, Walker said. Walker said the library's ghost hunting kit is among the top requested item in a library of things that also include an inflatable kayak. What? A telescope, ukuleles, dinosaur cake pans, and kits for metal detecting and showing outdoor movies. Libraries aren't just a place to borrow books, she said. Why buy something like a ghost hunting kit when you can borrow it? I did not know libraries had all this stuff in it. But then again, I haven't been to a library since I was a kid. The Coventry Public Library's version of the kit includes a geophone to detect vibrations, footsteps, and moving objects, Walker said. Ghost hunting gets a lot of attention at Halloween, but our kit is pretty much a demand year round. She said it's one of those things that parents like to check out for a fun weekend with their kids. In Evansville, Wisconsin, the Edgar Free Public Library's popular spirit detecting kit keeps disappearing from the shelves, said Rebecca Van Dan, the library assistant director and head of youth services. I added some books to the kit about haunted locations in Wisconsin, and people seem to enjoy taking it around to try it out, she said, adding that one of those haunted locations is rumored to be the Eager Free Public Library. That is crazy. Our library was built in the early 1900s by Almarin Eager, whose statue has a place of honor in the old part of the building, Van Dam said. One of our employees is into ghosts, and when she tried out the kit, she said she picked up a lot of cold readings near the statue. Her thermometer's readings were low, she said, which, according to ghost hunters, might indicate spirits are nearby. The ghost hunting kit is now almost as popular as the library's knitting kit and 3D doodler, Van Dam said. Like I said, I didn't know the libraries had all these things. I'm like out of the loop. Witness 49 said she enjoyed using her library kit at her Colorado home so much that she's now thinking of checking it out again when a friend comes for a weekend visit. While her kids, Cara, 16, and Max, 14, enjoyed goofing around with the kit, they ultimately decided it wasn't cool enough for teenagers, she said. My kids were saying skibbity toilet into the voice recorder. Witness said, translating that the term means gross or dumb in team speak. She said she enjoyed hearing the voices of people in her community who used the digital recorder and didn't erase their recordings. You turn it on and you hear kids and their parents laughing and having fun, she said. They said, hello, is anyone here? Are there any ghosts here with us? I know that's not necessarily spooky, but there's a lot of love about that wilderness or witness said. So that is actually kind of cool. I did not know libraries, like I said, had all those things there. I'm out of the loop. I haven't been to a library since I was a kid in elementary school. Logical Spark, what is up? Heather, whatever goes, cool library. I did preschool reading hours when my youngest boys were little. Kids can love libraries and it lasts a lifetime. Brandon goes, it must be awesome to be from a cold place like Colorado. Julissa is on my Twitch. Joanne goes thermometer for probing aliens. Kimberly goes, there's always a proton pack and neutron wand for ghost hunting, including ghost traps. Brandon goes, I have a USB cable. Logical Spark goes, can't wait till next Wednesday when I get to fly. D-Dice goes, skibbity doo-doo. I guess that's a term that teenagers use nowadays. I don't know. According to the article, I don't use that term, so I don't think I've ever heard anyone use it. But that's super cool. So maybe if you guys are looking for a ghost hunting kit, maybe your local library has one, including knitting, a doodler, a kayak, which I, or well, this one said inflatable kayak, but still. Well, what does it say? Dinosaur baking pan was requested. I was like, Do people go to the library for a dinosaur shaped baking pan?" D Dice goes, "I don't even know, and I just saw my nephews yesterday. Their language is out of there, and her nephews are 10 and 12." Emily goes, "I get the interest in ghost hunting, but I wouldn't want people coming in and bothering me, so I'll leave them alone." Bernadette used to go to the libraries to check out DVDs. D Nice goes, "Maybe Barnes and Nobles." Barnes and Nobles probably sells them. Jen goes, "My kids talk that way. It's so dumb, but I make fun of them for it." Oh, really? I'm out of the loop with that because I don't have any kids around me. So, but I do see the occasional TikTok video pop up where someone my age where they're going through words like slang words, so that somebody my age and their kid, and then the different words. So I do come across those, but I'm not the skid of whatever it was. Julissa has also checked out DVDs from the library in the past. That is super cool. Bernadette goes, "What does Riz mean? I don't know. I don't want to know." Oh, you know what? They did say that in that TikTok video, but I wasn't paying attention. But then I don't know. Riz sounds kind of, I don't know. Julissa goes, "Riz means charisma." D Dice goes, "What was the saying back in the day? Moded?" I don't know how to spell it, but I was like, Ber- Bernadette, when you said Riz, that's where I was thinking. That's why I said I don't want to know. You guys could read her comment. Emily goes, "Where do they come?" I have no idea. It's like a sling of some sort. I feel bad. Sometimes I feel bad for the people trying to learn English because there's different, like the way teenagers talk, and then the way that other people talk. I mean, oh, true. Julissa goes, "By the time we find out what the slang means, it's not cool anymore." True. Very true. Very true. Like they come up with something else. All right, guys, I found this cool article. I thought it was something kind of different. Um, it's an article, but they took excerpts from Reddit, and you know how I love ghost stories from Reddit, but this is with law enforcement that has had paranormal experiences, and I always find this interesting. I've seen a few stories where they talk about like some unexplained encounters that they have. So this is 21 paranormal events that law enforcement has witnessed. And again, this is it takes excerpts from Reddit, and with Reddit sometimes people can't they don't convey their story as well, but I do like them because it's actual people that have had an experience. It's good to know that law enforcement isn't exempt from having paranormal experiences. If anything, I believe the higher your rank in the government, the more frequent you should be haunted. For instance, one correction officer was creeped out every Sunday at 9 p.m. when an inmate would appear to be sitting in a visitation room despite the officer insisting that such a presence couldn't be possible, explaining that by 4:30 officer cleared the floor room by room and locked it up. That's a case for Fox Mulder would love to solve. Well, yeah, obviously, he'd be on it right away. He'd be trying to convince Scully, like, it's a great case. Other badge carrying Redditors have remembered the supernatural occurrences they witnessed, and each of their stories makes the X Files seem like a documentary. This first story, I don't know why they put it, it's paranormal, but um, it's kind of with the military, but it's kinda like, I don't know, it doesn't have, like, I feel like it doesn't have a punchline to it. You know how when people tell a story, there's usually something shocking? This one's not really shocking, but it's kinda crazy, I guess, in the same way. I was a medic in the army, and I was ordered to babysit a couple of soldiers in their barracks room because of poltergeist activity they were experiencing. The two soldiers apparently hadn't slept in a while and complained of objects being thrown at them. The command sent me because they had no clue where to go on the issue and figured they could have a rotating guard until they figured something out. A few days later, they just moved the guys to a different room. Edit, funniest part was listening to the battalion chaplain rant about how he doesn't have exorcism knowledge since he was a Baptist. Emily too, Sam and Dean Winchester would be all over it as well. I agree. Re- this is uh responded to a single another excerpt from Reddit, responded to a single vehicle crash out in the county, found the car, it had left the road, crashed through a fence, rolled at least 3 times, came to rest right side up. The driver was mangled pretty bad. An actual paramedic said he was deceased. We secured the scene. We waited for the coroner. Coroner gets there, declares him dead as well. Starts his investigation and documentation. About 20 minutes into it, we are all near the coroner van discussing the situation. We are about 20 feet from the victim's car. The driver, who hasn't been removed yet, sits up, looks around, and starts the car. We all jump about 5 feet straight into the air. Driver survived. Loads of investigation into how two trained pros declared a live man dead. That one is crazy. That one is crazy. Imagine coming to a scene. You're an officer. You responded to the vehicle crash. Come to the scene. The guy apparently is too mangled. Obviously, you would think the man's has passed. You have the paramedic that comes up. Oh, we lost him. Then you have the coroner that gets there, says the same thing. No, he's gone for sure. They all go to the coroner's van, starts, doing the paperwork, starting to talk about the case, like, wow, how did this happen? Like, did the car come? You know how when they talk about trying to figure out what happened and stuff like that. And then the driver sits up and starts the car. How freaky is that? That would freak the hell out of me. The guy, the only thing I can think of that how that happened is the guy literally he could have passed and he came back somehow, like he had angels on his side. For sure. Joanne goes, "Good thing they didn't put a nail through." Oh, exactly. The guy would have been oh, good thing. But just imagine that. Oh, that guy, the guy that was in the accident that they had pronounced dead, he must have had an angel on his side for sure. or guardian angel or something. They were like, "It's not your time," and they sent him back. Heather, whatever goes, something went down there. Bernadette goes, "That's crazy." I'd be like, "Oh, hell no." That's exactly what I'd be. That would have scared the crap out of me. Like, I would be like, pet cemetery BS going on. No. No. Without being buried at the pet cemetery. Emily goes, "I would need some kind of meds after that." Heather, whatever goes, "His angel had a bent wing." Carol goes, "I've heard of things happening like that before. There is a name for it. Like a near death experience, kind of, but actually, I've heard it. I've heard of where people have actually passed and then for like a minute and then they come back." Bernadette goes, "It's a zombie, y'all. Oh my God." You know, exactly. We'd be like, "Oh my God, the apocalypse is here." Heather, whatever goes, he gets home. "How was your day, honey?" "Fine, boring." He's like, nothing happened besides, a guy that we thought had passed in a car, uh, didn't pass." Matthew goes, "Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod, and I am immortal. There could be only one." Exactly. Joanne goes, "Pulse may have been very faint." True. D Nice goes, "I don't want to be buried at the pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again." But that one's crazy. I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation. That would definitely, my blood pressure would have definitely gone up and I would have been definitely awake for the rest of the night after that one. So the next one of the high schools here in my city had two teenage girls fall through a skylight into the gym one night. Both passed away from their injuries. A couple of years later, I was talking to a police officer at our BJJ class. I was telling him how I worked for the school district. He goes on to tell me how the PD gets calls throughout the night of different classroom lights getting turned on and off, specifically at the high school where the two girls passed away. He tells me that him or another officer has to go into the school. Mind you, it's a 3-story building, and check the classrooms for anyone that may have broke into the school. He said he gets chills every time he has to walk into the school and to never find evidence of anyone breaking in. That one's not as shocking, but still creepy at the same time. Hold on. This one I'm going to have to kind of, because it's in super, super small writing. Oh, wait a minute. I went too big. There, okay. Hold on, let me go down one. Wendy, what is up? Bernadette! Bernadette! Wait, a BJ J class? What the hell is that class about? Bernadette! Mr. Spocko's a janitor playing a prank. But I don't know. It doesn't really go into detail, but I'm guessing there's no one in the building at the time that those calls happen. Carol, the situation of the previous story with the man in the crash and how he just stood up, it's called the Lazarus phenomenon. D Nice is being D naughty. You can never go too big. Joanne goes, the classrooms always have posters, art, etc. hanging on the walls. When they fall off, it sets off the light sensor. Possibility. Especially if they're using those I don't know what they call those things. Those the ones I forgot what they're called. They're like Post-its, but they come with little hooks and you can tape them and you can remove them without ruining your paint, but they always seem when it's hot, they seem to unstick. So Heather, whatever, I kind of get what you're talking about. Oh no! There's a silver alert in my area. Hold on, if I don't click that off, it's gonna come back. Silver alert, there's a older adult missing. Those are the funny thing is when those go off when you're in a store and all the phones are going off because they'll set these they'll send those out if there's flooding, if someone's missing, etc etc. So when you're in the store and this goes off, it's a gazillion phones going off and doing that. D Nice got it too. So I hope they do find that person. It happens a lot. I do see a lot of people posting that an older person does get out and they don't know where they went and they've gone missing. So I feel for those people. So hopefully they find him or her. It didn't say, it just said it was kind of vague, so it didn't say who it was. Late evening, maybe a decade ago, I ended up running silent to a call with additional units in tow. The caller reported hearing footsteps on her second floor when she was in the kitchen. She lived alone, middle aged, divorced, no kids, and had no expected company. She's outside across the street when we arrive, obviously unnerved and being calmed by her neighbor. Other units show up almost as I did and set up a perimeter at the corners of the property. We talk with her, get permission to enter, so we decide, well, announce ourselves and clear the house. Three of us stack up on the front door, announce and make entry while the other officers are viewing the windows from a distance under concealment. She was in the midst of making a really late dinner, so the house smells really good. I remember how good it smelled. Anyway, we clear the ground level and make our way to the stairs when we hear it. Obviously, footsteps on the wood floor above us. Not a panicky, oh, I'm caught footsteps and running to hide or escape. No, these were calm, methodic, and almost pace like. We announce ourselves again and no response, except the pacing just starts to sort of fade away. Quietly, I make my way up the steps, adrenaline pumping and concentrating on peering the corner at the top. It says pine. I stop a few stairs shy of the corner, breathe, and proceed up. The hallway at the top was pitch black, and after successfully clearing the top corner, we make our way down the hallway, clearing rooms. Nothing, nobody, not even a critter. Not that any critter would ever make what I described as human footsteps on hard wood. After the initial search, a few of the other officers involved also checked every nook and cranny, bed, closet, rack, hell, even the washer, dryer, appliances, and cupboards were thoroughly searched. Nothing was out of order. Nobody was hiding anywhere. Eventually, we invite the lady back into her residence and reassure her that there was nobody in there, and we equated her noise to maybe wood shrinkage or expansion in the home. None of the officers outside and after our initial search had seen anybody leave at the top or bottom floors or windows. The house had no indication that anybody tried to force open a window or door. I stayed behind for about 30 minutes once the other officers cleared the call and waited while her friend showed up to stay the night with her. I went over basic security measures with her and double checked all her windows and doors were not compromised. She fed me well done lasagna as I waited, and to this day, I'm convinced that I interacted with another dimension of life that day. D Nice goes, I thought you said peen. I said pine or peering. Emily goes, I had to watch my grandma like a hawk. She'd wander off. Wendy goes, alerts in Tennessee, floods and wind damage from Helen. Stay safe, Wendy. Joanne goes, lasagna. Now I'm hungry. Heather, whatever goes, good cook ghost. Wendy goes, I had an event a few years back. Tree broke off due to rot, pierced my attic down through to my kitchen and pierced my fridge. Thank you, homeowners insurance. Glad you were okay in that as well. That seems scary too. But that guy, that previous post, they wrote very well. Let me go one thing bigger because I am a police officer working on an emergency response team on a busy London borough. We took a call to the suspected domestic incident in a block of flats. The informant said that she could hear screaming and sounds of disturbance coming from the flat above her own. Once we arrived, my colleague and I knocked on the door of the flat the informant said the noise was coming from. I had heard nothing on my way up and certainly couldn't hear any disturbances coming from the address. To be honest, I heard nothing at all. After knocking twice, we had no response. My colleague left me to go downstairs and speak directly to the informant. I stayed by the door. I knocked again, and after some time, it was answered by an elderly woman. She had clearly been asleep and was alarmed to see me standing outside. I told her that someone had called saying that they could hear a disturbance coming from within her address. I asked her if there was anyone else inside with her. She looked bemused and told me that she lived alone and had been sleeping. I asked her if I could come in to satisfy myself that no one else was there. She invited me in, and I walked into what was a small two-bedroom flat. The flat the dark was in darkness apart from her hall light and her bedside lamp. I began searching through the flat. As I approached the final door of the living room, my colleague called me up on radio. He told me that he was on the way and asked if I was okay. I told him everything was fine, wondering why he sounded so flustered. He told me that he was with the informant and could also hear screaming and loud thuds coming from the flat I was in. I told him that he must be mistaken as I was almost done searching the flat and that I had heard nothing whatsoever. I have to admit a feeling of unease as I opened the final door. Like all the other rooms, it was in darkness, but was freezing cold. My breath misted immediately. There was no one in the room and no signs of disturbances. No window was open. I called my colleague and asked him to listen out for my footfall. He said he could hear my feet as I stamped them, but said that the screaming had stopped. This coincided with me opening the door. I left shortly after apologizing to the elderly woman for waking her. I have no rational explanation for this at all. My colleague and I left very creeped out. That one's kind of creepy, where they're hearing screaming from the downstairs and they go upstairs, and this poor old woman that lives by herself in a two-bedroom flat, and he's up there, but the partner downstairs is hearing screaming. That has to be crazy. Heather whatever goes, ghosts have cold feet. Heather whatever goes, weird. He did say that the one room that he went into was cold and he could see his breath. I don't think after that I would ever want to go back in there, but it's kind of weird because the woman living there didn't hear any of it. Wendy goes, I don't mind spooky nightmares. Early in my career, the elevators in the older section of CIA headquarters, known as the Original Headquarters Building or OHB, were known to have quirks. I think they still do. Occasionally, the elevator would stop and doors would open at a floor with no one there and no one on the elevator had requested the floor. I heard secondhand that the thing to do when that happened was to say, "Good day, Mr. Director," because it was assumed that the doors opened for the ghost of Alan Dulles. OHB was his project, as many know, but he never was able to move into the office, having been replaced as CIA director just before it was ready. Ah, that sucks for him, but that kind of makes sense. They don't know who it is. It's just a story. It's an urban legend there in that building. Heather, whatever goes, she was a screamer, silver ghost alert. Military policeman in the Marine Corps while stationed at Camp Lejeune. A dispatcher got a call from a terrified wife that kids were trying to get into her house. It was a little after midnight. We thought this was just a drunken spouse call and responded not on high alert, just kind of wanted to make sure the lady was all right. We knocked on the door and announced ourselves. The woman is obviously shaken, still with puffy eyes. She tells us 4 children with red eyes rang her doorbell and asked to come inside. And when she refused, they got angry. The kids terrorized her for 5 minutes. Her own child was put to bed and her husband was deployed. I decided to do a once over of the whole housing property, and it was a whole lot of nothing going on. My partner and I decided to do a little walk-in patrol of that housing area. In each housing area, there's usually a decent sized playground. As we were walking up to it, we both see some kids swinging. Curfew is 8 p.m. for young children unless accompanied by an adult on base. I'm effing spooked at this point, and I know my partner is too. They look over at us and just stare. We started backtracking and then turned and didn't look back, didn't talk about it the rest of the night either. Later on, I looked up the incident online since like Lejeune. I'm probably butchering this base name. Is famous for lots of paranormal activity, and turns out the little red-eyed kids have been reported before. That is creepy. Heather, whatever goes, Alan Dulles is a series of stories all by himself. You never know. Julissa goes, interesting, but he didn't die there. I don't think so. But then if it was if it was your project and like your baby, it makes sense that maybe in your afterlife you would be there. I don't know. I'm only more of if the person dies in the building type of thing that they would be there. But you never know. You never know. I mean, at least those military guards did not go walk up to the children. Because if this was a horror film, they would have walked up to the children. While we're on the other side of the screen saying, no, don't walk up to them. They're evil. And then obviously also too, we'd be pulling out our phones. We'd be like, guys, do you see what I'm seeing? Heather, whatever goes, maybe he lives close by. See Alan Dulles and JFK, etc. Navy Security Forces member here. This will probably get buried, but oh well. I was on shift with a DOD police officer on the oldest Navy base we have in the States. We get a call about an alarm going off in a nearby office, and it being midnight. We quickly get over there. When we get to the building, there are lights on in the second story. We try all the doors and they are locked. Try the windows, locked. Look for any possible entryway, and everything is sealed up tight. We call the building commander and they send a guy to come and turn off the alarm and let us look around to make sure all is well. When he got there, his first statement to us was, alarm going off again? Damn it, I'm sick of the ghost effing my days up. Apparently, everyone that works in the building has claimed there's a ghost that likes to move stuff around and cause the alarms to go. And a check of the call log for the alarm activation showed that every time it went off, the building was locked up tight. And if you guys have an interesting story, article, video, might be your own personal story, email graysonreport13@gmail.com, and I may share it on my next live stream or one of my live streams. And Bernadette has dropped it in the chat. Mr. Spock goes, maybe it was mice. Maybe. Possibility. But it is I feel like though they would take care of that in those, even though it's an older building. I feel like they would, a military would take care of that though. But it possibility. My uncle works for dispatch in my town, and he recently told my family of the weirdest call he's ever gotten. He says that he had received a call from a landline one night, and when he answered it, there was only static on the other end. This happened two more times. Finally, he calls a squad to go check out the address from the caller ID. When the cops got there and walked into the house, they immediately saw that there was a dead body. The person had been dead for 5 months. The craziest part about it was that there was no electricity or any other utility working. So there's no way they should have been able to get those calls into dispatch. But if they hadn't, who knows how long that person's body would have stayed there. What? Matthew goes, nothing spookier than an unidentified Lewis flying object. Heather, whatever, also says if you look up Alan Dulles and JFK, you won't find ghosts necessarily, but you will find many rabbit holes. Ooh, I love rabbit holes. My uncle works for dispatch in my town, and he recently told my family of the weirdest call he's ever gotten. He says that he had received a call from a landline one night, and when he answered it, there was only static on the other end. This happened two more times. Finally, he calls a squad to go check out the address from the caller ID. When the cops got there and walked into the house, they immediately saw that there was a dead body. The person had been dead for 5 months, and I think I read this one already. Sorry, guys, because it bounced up. I read that one. Sorry about that, guys, but that one's crazy. My phone is going crazy. Cop here. Partner and I were dispatched to a welfare check. Elderly guy, nobody had seen him in a few days. Mail overflowing in mailbox. Missed a doctor's appointment. Car hasn't moved, etc. We both knew We both know we are about to find a body. We arrive on scene and can't get anyone to the door. Look through the window, and sure enough, we could see his foot on the floor in the living room. My partner is a corporal and pulls rank and makes me go first. Door is unlocked, and as soon as we open it, we smell a mostly fresh dead body. Almost relieved, we both entered, and he tells me to check vitals on dead dude. He is obviously dead with living. The fact that it's a cop and he goes dead dude. He's obviously dead with lividity, dried feces on him, and dried saliva around his mouth. So I go to stand over him and see if I could get a pulse, at which point he takes a deep breath, rolls over, and asks why we are in his house. At this point, we both start screaming, OS and what the F, as we both run out the house. We called EMS and they transported him, said they couldn't get a blood pressure or pulse on him. I think he died a week later in the hospital. I still get jokes about raising the dead. That is scary. Ozzy, what's up? Heather, whatever goes. I got it. Heather, whatever. I'll check it out after the stream. That one's crazy. That would have scared the crap out of me. I don't blame those guys. I work in a pre-Civil War town that has lots of antebellum homes that survived the war. Ghost hunters have been to the town on several occasions. There's this one antebellum mansion that is more of a museum that gets alarm calls semi-frequently. Every time the side door to the house is open and the kitchen has all cabinet doors and drawers open. every effing time. The caretaker says it's been happening since she started looking after the place about 30 years ago. We don't clear it without backup. Not a cop, but I used to work private security. For a bit, I worked at a shopping mall. My partner and I already had a feeling this place was haunted. One reason being the homicide that happened right before I was hired. The very west of the mall made the hair of my neck stand up the most, and I don't know why. It's also good to note that there is an animal shelter at the end of the mall. You could see the cats and dogs through the windows at night. They would bark and whine a lot. One night, I was walking to the end of the mall and I started feeling like someone was following me or walking behind me. When I got to the shelter, none of the animals were making noise, but I swear to God, all of the ones that were awake were staring at or behind me. I got really bad goosebumps and a horrible feeling in my gut. I put my head down and walked as fast as possible out of the out of the closest door. Once I was outside, all of the negative feelings went away. My partner and I received a 911 call from an old woman having a dispute with someone. We get to the house and she says she's alone. We say, "Who are you having a dispute with?" She says, "Oh, just the spirit in one of my rooms." Immediately, me and my partner look at each other and give old she's elderly, it's probably dementia or something along the line. As we're talking to her, she's explaining how sometimes a bad spirit comes around. She states that he's in the back room, and of course, the lights don't work. We try to tell her that spirits probably aren't in her house and we have to get to another 911 call. She insists we check it out, so we do. Now, the house, the way she was speaking about spirits made me believe something was there. When we got to the room and she opened the door. Seeing a ghost wouldn't have shocked me. She did say that it's usually in the corner up on the ceiling. Well, that corner was dark and had the freakiest shadow that legitimately was terrifying. My partner and I shined our flashlights on the whole room and thankfully nothing was there. We told the lady, "Nope, you're good, nothing going on here." I said to her, "If you feel there's a spirit there, the NYPD can't help you. Go to the local church, religious institution of your choosing, and best of luck." We got the F out of there. Hug, what is up? How's it going? Ozzy goes, "This is weird. I just came from another channel talking about animals and kids sensing spirits in rooms." Oh, that's weird. My dad used to work as a correctional officer at Goulburn Jail in Australia, which is probably one of the oldest and hardest prisons there. A story he tells of his time there is one I always remember. He said that the whole place was creepy anyway, not helped by some of the inmates at the time, including the notorious Ivan Millet, on which Wolf Creek is based. Anyway, I've seen that movie. That movie's crazy. Anyway, and I did not know it was based on someone. Anyway, first thing he noticed was that dogs would outright refuse to enter the prison. He said they couldn't get them past the gate no matter how hard they tried. But the creepiest occurrence was one night when they heard the sound of running booted footsteps. Everyone was in their cells, so they couldn't figure out what was causing it. Next thing, all the doors of the open and unoccupied cells on the top floor were banged shut, one after the other with loud clangs. Then they see the source of the running noise. Now, dad swears this is what he and his colleagues, so he has another witness, saw. Apparently, they looked up and saw what looked like a disembodied hobnail boots run down the aisle right over their heads, banging as they went. Dad decided to stop working in the prison not long after this. Super crazy. Hugs goes, my 3-year-old grandson has been talking about ghosts nonstop for months now. Oh, wow. That is okay, Hugs. That is crazy, Hugs. I find a kid telling a story more creepy than any of these stories. I don't know why. That that is creepy. Because for I don't know with me, but if it's a kid telling me a ghost story, I would definitely believe that that's what they're seeing. Dusty goes, Aloha Lisa and the Wolf Pack celebrating my 72nd birthday on the 26th of September. Happy birthday, Dusty! Hearts for Dusty, guys! I hope you had a great day. That's awesome. D Nice goes, kids are pure, so you never know. Unless they were watching horror movies. If they were watching horror movies, then I would think it was something from that. But if you have a kid that doesn't watch horror movies, because I know there's some parents that allow their kids to watch horror movies, which I have no problem with because it's their prerogative. But I still, when it comes to kids and their ghost stories, I tend to believe it more than be I tend to be more of a believer when it comes to them. Dusty goes fun with a barbecue. That is awesome. EMT here once had a call out to our local mall, show up, and an 8-year-old was having breathing problems. Her mother, aunt, and cousin had just been caught stealing, and it was late at night. We assumed the breathing problems was stress induced. Once we got into the back of our unit, she looked my partner and myself in the eyes and said that she lived at a bad place. She said she lived with demons, and I S you not. As she described the demons, her heart rate plummeted to 90 BPM to 45 BPM in a matter of seconds. My partner and I looked at each other and immediately started trying to lighten the mood and preparing for a code. She ended up being okay. I will never forget that experience. Heather, whatever goes, my kids weren't allowed to until they saw them elsewhere, and then they had to be mild. I got a call to persistent fire alarms being set off in a block of flats that used to be a poorhouse in the 1800s. The alarms would go off 3 to 4 times a night at certain times of the year. We arrived, and residents are all outside saying they could hear a woman crying. No one wanted to go in as they assumed it was her that was setting the alarms off and she might be crazy. We went up and yep, sure enough, could hear a woman crying, sounded like the stairwell. Up we went and walked, crying got louder, turned the landing and realized the sound was then below us. It was coming from the top step of the previous flight of stairs. Well, I nearly shat myself. What made it worse was guess who had just bought a flat on the ground floor and was moving in the following week? Yep, me. I used to bail through the front doors past the staircase and into my flat like I was being chased by wolves. Heather, whatever goes, I thought cops' jobs were awful already. Never thought about supernatural. Ozzy goes, I know a woman who put her baby down in a rocker chair to watch slasher movies from the time he was a newborn or was a newborn. Like normal parents would put theirs down to watch the Wiggles. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Hug, happy belated birthday, which was September 12th. Hearts for Hug as well. And I know Wendy also had a birthday, so we're hugs for Wendy as well for the September birthdays. Graveyard shift security at a hotel casino. We got called to the top floor of the hotel because people from the floor below were calling in noise complaints. I was the FNG, so I had a trainer with me when we went up. Dispatch told us over the radio that there was nobody registered on that floor, so cool. Just a few idiots being idiots. We got up there, and every single door on the entire floor was wide open. Anyone who has been to these hotels knows that you can't just accidentally leave the doors open because they close by themselves. They weren't propped open or anything, just opened. We asked dispatch if engineering was doing any work up here or had anything going on during the day. After a few minutes, they told us they called engineering and they said no. We just noped. We just noped out at that point and said there was nobody up there. They didn't. They were like, hell no. They didn't even really investigate. They were like, nope. I believe it's a ghost. There was an incident from my hometown that made national news, and it made believers out of many. A young mom and her infant were driving home from a friend's house at night when she crashed her car, which ended upside down in a river. The following day, a fisherman saw the car and called emergency personnel. When law enforcement officials, it's still working, computer. Why is it's trying to say my page crashed? When law enforcement officials went down the embankment to the crash site, four different officers heard a distinct voice calling, "Help me! Help me!" Hearing the voice caused them to work frantically and to flip the car over and found the 18-month-old baby alive, strapped in her car seat, hanging upside down. Based on Leah reports, it is estimated that the car had crashed 14 hours before. I still get chills when I pass the crash site. There was definitely an angel for that baby there as well. Wendy goes, I feel all the love by my chosen family. I had one call where we were doing CPR on an older gentleman. His wife screaming, he can't be dead. He can't be dead. I look up at both my partner and I swear we saw him standing in the corner of the room watching us try to bring him back. He didn't make it, but holy hell, that was creepy. This one goes, my share aunt says that calls come in all the time from houses that burnt down or where the occupants died a long time ago. This isn't from the streets, but I was a correction officer at a 112-year-old prison. I would have had controlled post every Sunday night from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. At 9 p.m. every Sunday, there would be an inmate in visitation sitting there on camera. Oh, this was the one that they were talking about at the beginning of the article. I knew for a fact there was nobody up there because by 4:30 officers cleared out the entire floor room by room and locked it up. Also, an overnight shift in one unit, I would have someone come up to my office window and look in. This is after counting, ensuring all doors were locked and the entrance to my unit being locked, and it was a different person each time. That is crazy. Jen goes, my husband's grandma came to him in his sleep and told him he was a psychic, which would explain so much last night. Oh, dang, that is so cool. That's neat. Wendy goes, ever do post mortem on someone you tried to save? She's, I smelt flowers and had to take the day off as a student. I know that's probably tough. It's tough enough seeing our loved ones passing, but I can imagine seeing someone else's loved one passing, especially being a nurse like Wendy was. That is super cool. With what Jen said. All right, guys, if you're looking for something to watch this weekend, it's true crime-ish. Chris, what is up? D Nice goes, when I randomly smell my mom's perfume, I cried. I've never had anything where I've smelled perfume. I haven't had that experience yet, or like smell to smell. When he goes, and have to make the call to the wife when he passed. I just told the wife he didn't die alone. That's tough. Bernadette was like, oh my God, Lisa. I was like, whose hand is that back there? So, if you guys have Max, I think this is on Max. There is it's a true crime kind of series. If you guys like true crime docs, and it's called The Real Murders on Elm Street. Uh, I kind of had an open. I thought it was kind of interesting because of what it said, like the real murders on Elm Street. So I'm thinking, oh, really? There was murders on Elm Street. Um, but it's not what you think it is. It's just, I guess, it's kind of like it's basically um murders that occurred on Elm Street, which is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. Actually, the very first one, if you do decide to watch it, the very first one is one that I've actually talked about on a previous stream because I knew about it. I was like, oh my God, I know this one. I talked about it. So if you guys are looking for something true crime-ish, check out The Real Murders on Elm Street. It is on Max. Tinkle Tits, thank you for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 13 months. Hearts for Tinkle Tits. Hey, Lisa and everyone, what is up? So if ever there was a television series with a clickbait title, it's this one. True, but I mean, I kind of was just interesting because they did use Elm Street, but I was kind of just open about it because I was like, oh, what is this going to be about? The Real Murders on Elm Street seems like it would tell the true story that inspired Wes Craven's to write A Nightmare on Elm Street, which is kind of what I had on the back of my mind. But this show isn't about hellish collective dreams. It's not fantasy. Still, it's worth a watch. It is an interesting, highly produced true crime series for fans who like their mystery reenacted, blood splatter, and detailed. Plus, who knew that so much crime happened on Elm Street across America? Even the Menendez brothers lived on an Elm Street. The first episode titled Killer in the Walls is exactly what it sounds like. When a husband discovers his wife and two children brutally murdered, police begin to suspect the killer is someone they've arrested before. 1 year prior, a disturbed teenager terrorized a family for months by hiding in a most unlikely place. If you like true crime stories and that look good and have interesting cases, you might want to check this out. Um, it's super cool. I'm watching it now. In fact, I just watched a episode. It drops an episode every week, so I just watched the one right before the stream. So if you guys like true crime docs, check it out if you have Max. I'm not sponsored by him. I just like it. Jen goes, he's been fighting it his whole life. Oh, Jen, so your husband didn't want to believe that he was psychic? Is that Carol goes, I've been watching it on ID. It's on ID too. If you guys have ID cable. Carol also said it's on ID. So if you guys have ID um or cable, it's on there as well. Or Discovery Plus, I'm pretty sure it's on that too. Jin goes, he tries to shut it off. Wow. That must be kind of wow, I can just imagine that it's probably like he has someone else in his head type of thing. I'm guessing I'm not I don't have the gift, but oh, and then his that's a cool dream though. And then his grandmother finally said, um, "You are stop fighting it." That's crazy. Jin goes, he gets frustrated exactly. Wow. That I think that would bother me. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is a gift, but I think if you don't know how to shut it off, I could see how he could get frustrated cuz I can imagine like just oh my god, I can imagine that. It's kind of like having your own thoughts, but it's not your thoughts. It's someone else's thoughts. Wow. I think he just needs to find a way to kind of to push it back so it doesn't bother him as much, and then when he's ready to listen. Jin goes right, so he tries to drown it and he can't tell them to shut up. I know he can't. He's a beacon, unfortunately. He's like a beacon. He's like a big old if you want to think of it as a what do you call those? I can't think of the name of them. Those things that I can't think of the name. I brain farted. Those things that have the light on the top that go around and it's like a I want to say windmill, but it's not a windmill. Jin goes right. He's bad at setting boundaries. Lighthouse. He's like a lighthouse to the spirit world. So they're all going to go to him because he's like a beacon to them. And I'm guessing that's how it works. Yeah, lighthouse. So he's kind of like a lighthouse. You know how a lighthouse kind of like the light to the paranormal world. So everything is going to go to him because they're like, "Oh, you know how like flies are attracted to or like mosquitoes are attracted to bright lights? It's the same thing. Kind of like the same thing." So he Jin goes, he is, and he never understood why people dump on him. It's because, put it this way, they may be looking for answers. I am not sure because I've never been in that situation, but this is kind of what my opinion. I'm not a professional or anything, but it's just what I've read and seen. And they could be looking for answers. They could have a message that they want to give out. So he should my suggestion, I'm not in that situation, so I don't know how it works, but maybe have them listen and see what they want. Because they could just be looking for an answer or they have a message that they want to give out before they lay to rest. I mean, I think if I had that gift, I it would frustrate me. And I know some of it I know some of us have like that intuition where we think of something and then the next day something happens, which I've had happen and it freaks me out sometimes, but Jin goes, I'm going to try and get him some info and help him figure it out. But yeah, cuz if it's going to continue. He literally can't stop it, and like you said, he can't say shut up, go away. Um it's not, it's not their fault that they're coming toward him, you know what I mean? Kind of way. So yeah, try to find something cuz he's probably just it's like it's going to affect him event if it hasn't done so already. Jen goes, it has. Julissa goes, I keep thinking of that little boy in Sixth Sense. I can't imagine having that gift. I mean, it is a gift, but it's a curse at the same time. But I'm sure there's ways, I'm sure if you Google it, I'm sure there's ways of controlling it to where you could put it aside, um, to where to where it's not affecting him. But he should stop fighting it, because fighting it is it. I'm assuming that's what the dream was for, because usually when my mom comes into my dream or my dad comes into my dream, it's usually something I'm worried about, um, or I'm stressing out about something, um, or something's affecting me, and that's when they come in, and I know they're just checking up on me, and I have this weird dream that I don't understand, but they're in it. But I know that's what that's for. So usually if you get a message like that, that she knows it's affecting him, and um he should stop trying to deny it, type of thing. Jen goes, at least we could try figuring it out now and have some guidance, because it's been really hard on him. I can imagine. Wendy, yes, only open the box when you have to. I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure. You just Jen, you just probably have to Google it and see what advice you could get for it. Or maybe find someone in your area that has like the similar gift that you could get advice from. Suggestions, because that's what I would do if I was in his position. Heather, whatever goes, Jen Decker, pray against dark stuff and for protection, then God's good stuff and God stuff and good stuff can prevail. Jen goes, that's what I was thinking. Maybe get him a reading and see what they tell him. Make sure it's a legit person, because I know there's a lot of scammers out there. Jen goes, "Oh, cool." Jen goes, "I know a few in the area." Okay, cool. Awesome. Hopefully he can you guys can find some answers and he can find some peace. All right, guys. We kind of already opened it up for conversation, but anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and open it up for conversation, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. They could be about the topics that we talked about. Can be paranormal related, UFO related, rabbit hole related, however you want to go for it. Wendy goes, I passed on a regression famous guru, tickets paid, and I backed out. Yeah, there are so many scammers out there, guys. So be careful. Emails, I mean, they're hitting us everywhere with texts. Like they're sending us, hey, did you receive this package? And it looks legit. So just be careful. Just check the senders, and stuff like that. And again, guys, if you have Twitch, I have a goal of trying to reach 50 followers there. Bernadette has dropped the link in the chat. If you guys could follow me over there, if you and you could either watch me here or over there. It's just in case if something happens here, because I know YouTube likes to be pesky, that you can find me somewhere else. And it's also to get the word of Grayson Report out in the world. Emily goes, not sure what it is exactly, but I've had deja vu countless times. Chris goes, I got one of those we got your package text today's. Yeah, be careful with those because those seem to be, I get those a lot too as well. That's why I mentioned it. Julissa going, where's the duck? I'll give you guys a few more minutes to look. And Julissa's over there on Twitch. Matthew goes, I got one too and I blocked and reported. That's what I do. I just block them. Or I'll get, lately I've been getting like texts from people, like numbers I don't even recognize. And it's like, hi there. I was like, who the hell are you? Thank you, Julissa. Trying to support you on both. Or I got this text one time. It was hilarious. Hey, so and so said I could come over. We're gonna leave about 8 o'clock. Can you bring this? And I'm like, who are you? Like, how are you getting my number when you're in another state? Like, because I could tell by the area code. I'm like, you're in another state, like New York or something. Like, why are you texting me? I had that one time, and I'm like, how did you get my number? Like, it's a different area code. Julissa goes, they're catfishing you. Bernadette goes, if I don't know the number, I never answer. Heck, even if I know you, I probably won't answer. Heather, whatever goes, the ring ghost are texting you. Yeah, probably. Or it's funny. I don't know if you guys have ever like ordered groceries online and the person getting your groceries text you. Well, there was one, she happened to text me and it said, and it was from a New York number. I'm going to use New York, but this one was actually New York. And they were like, did you order a watermelon? And I was like, because it was like a New York number, right? And I was like, who the F in New York is texting me? You know what I mean? I was like, block. And then I got my order, my grocery order, and there was a watermelon in it. And I didn't order a watermelon, so I got a free watermelon. Matthew goes, I get those police donation calls, just say got no job or money, and it hangs up. Chris Barber goes, since reporting my car stolen, I get 50 emails a day from other insurance people. Dude, Ice goes, I'm having deja vu with this conversation. Wendy got a grocery delivery that wasn't hers. And she didn't know that Walmart didn't deliver to her area or to her house. I see that a lot of times. There's people that go on Facebook on the city page and they're like, hey, I got your groceries. If anybody ordered groceries today from Walmart and didn't get it, please let me know. And I'm like, how? Because Walmart uses third party. So they use Uber and Postmates or whatever else you could think of, Grubhub, whatever else they could think of. So these third party people sometimes do not deliver the product properly. Or they keep the product, because I've had that happen before too. Bernadette goes, I was feeling bored one night and I got a call from Jersey. I answered and said, oh my God, thank God you called. I needed to get rid of the body quick. They hung up. Oh my God, Bernadette, that's a good one. Oh my God. Carol goes, I get that all the time. They don't know my cell has a Connecticut number and I live in New Hampshire. Never change it so people don't realize it's me. I know there's some people that keep their number because they just know it and everybody knows it and they don't want to give people. I get it. I understand it. I mean, I probably would have done the same thing because I've had this number since I basically when I got my first cell phone. This has been the same number. So it has um some sentimental value to it. Wendy goes, my driveway is steep and scary. I live in a holler. I can't even get mail, UPS, nor Emma. That sucks, Wendy, for deliveries. Dusty goes, we don't have delivery in my rural community. Bernadette, though, they haven't called back. That is crazy. Wendy goes, we love the telemarketing calls. We like to mess with them. Accents, I love it. Lewis does that too. I had a coworker that would do it too. I would laugh all the time. Shelly, what is up? I don't do that. I just was like, I don't have time for them. But I should one day. Chris goes, I get that too because I have my brother's old number with a 408 area code and my code is 937. All right, guys, real quick before I forget, Skeleduck is in a very good place. Shelly, we talked about what did we talk about? We talked about I did law enforcement ghost stories earlier, and then we talked about Ring is offering 100K for videos if you have a Ring camera to send in a video, and they also said could be creative, so it's not necessarily paranormal. So I thought that was real cool, real. Libraries are loaning out ghost hunting kits. And also talked about a program on Max called The Real Murders on Elm Street. Right now we're just talking about random stuff because it's questions. Dusty goes, we don't have mail delivery either. Everyone has P.O. boxes. Oh, that's kind of, I mean, I guess that's cool. Jen goes, I have this one number that won't stop calling me and it just makes me mad. I just block them. All right, guys, Skeleduck he's still on the screen technically. I left him. I was going to move it, but I was like, hell, I'm going to make it. He is right there. So if I move my arm, you can see him. My mic arm. So he's right there, peeking. Right where my finger is. So he's right above the ear of the Peeps bunny and the face hugger ornament, but you can't see that it's a face hugger ornament because it turned around. But he's right there where my finger is. He's on my right hand side, your left hand side. But that's how he was. I had him kind of hidden there. Carol goes, I thought so, but wasn't sure. Julissa goes, sneaky. D Nice was like, oh my god, dude, way off again. Heather goes, beach or Peking duck. Oh, Jen blocks the number every time, but they still keep calling. That's crazy. Matthew goes, I didn't bother looking in case the power went off. Bernadette goes, pinche duck. Totally understandable, Matthew. Emily goes, that damn duck. whatever people you they still eat that. The pecking the yeah, they still eat that. Heather, what I don't, I never have, but they still they still do. All right, guys, keep the questions coming. I'm gonna probably stay on for a few more minutes. Few more minutes. Shelly goes, "What's the difference between ducks and geese? They look different." Well, I'm more thinking of like the Canadian geese. They're bigger. To me, they're bigger than a duck. Like double the size. Bernadette goes, "Where is DJ Grey Wolf gonna spin?" I do actually, guys, I do have a Twitch for it. Um Lorianne, welcome. I do have a Twitch. I just haven't had it set up. Let me find it. Because I was mixing on Lewis's, so you may find me there, but I do have one as well that I may start mixing on. I may mix on my own, but it's not set up. But I will let y'all know about it if I can find it. Because I don't know what the link to it is. Give me a second, guys. If you guys want to follow, because I think I'm the only one following me. There, because I recently restarted it. Give me a second, guys. I have that two-step verification on it. Let me see if I could get that. Oh, here it is. If you guys want to follow on Twitch on my DJ one as well, I may start mixing on that. I'm thinking about it. I haven't decided yet, but if you guys want to follow me there, I will drop the link in the chat. I had to log in to get the link because I can't search and find me. But there I am. Thank you, Emily. Stay safe. Wendy goes, "What about the pinche patos in South Florida? They're rude." Also, too, thank you, D Nice, for your PayPal hearts for D Nice. She goes, "Mix it up, DJ Grey Wolf." Hearts for D Nice, guys. Thank you, D Nice. Thank you, Carol, for following on both the Twitches. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? I need sound effects. That's okay, Heather, whatever. I know you'll be there in spirit. All right, guys, I am going to end this stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one, which will be Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared, stay spooky, and sweet nightmares, guys. And for those of you that are in the path of the hurricane, stay safe. And I will see you on the next one. Good night, guys, and thank you. You guys are awesome. And have a great rest of your week. Good night, guys.